Let's see how we're doing here. Let me do a quick audio test, please. All right. So, take two here. All right, so last week, or earlier this week, I made the first attempt at this. We did not have audio. For that, I do apologize. So let me start out with a couple of disclaimers first and foremost for today. I am going back to Valkyrie today for some gaming. If you tuned in for exceptional piloting and gamemanship, you might want to tune right back out. That's not going to happen here today. I'm just getting new to the game. I am not a pilot, and I'm getting used to the controller here with the new configuration I got. So if you're looking for fancy gameplay, you might want to tune in another time. Not going to happen here in New Eden anytime soon. So the second thing is, I'm not going to get a lot of gameplay in today. My main goal today is kind of talk to you a little bit more about the training notebook, kind of pick up where we left off the last time we hit this. And in doing that, I do want to get into a little bit further than we were last time. Last time we talked about the goal setting. Today we'll talk about running a ML program, and I ask that you keep in mind that all this here is new basic stuff for a game that I have little idea of how to play. So it's going to be a little rough as I start to work my way up the ladder there. So I do want to get in on the game here, or at least the training notebook. So let's just go ahead and jump into that. And kind of the takeaway today, I want you to kind of see the bigger picture and how this is shaping up. There's really three parts that we look at when we look at developing any new skill. And I don't, if it's playing the piano, learning how to tie a fly, driving, whatever, you've got to take the skills that you're learning. A lot of people call them the mechanics, but the basic skills you're learning, how to press the right button at the right time under the right circumstances and for the right reasons. Taking those skills you're learning and being able to adapt those and use those in a high stress environment. And that generally takes two things in real life. It would take what they call stress resistant skills. It'd be simple, easy skills that you can do without your sympathetic nervous system being activated. Those simple little things, making those things work under duress or under stress, like somebody shooting at you, or in a video game somebody shooting at you, are two completely different things. It's easy enough to usually do on a range or in a training and simulating environment, and then when it gets to the real thing or a big match, people usually collapse. And the reason for that, especially if you're not a seasoned professional, is another part of that. We were talking about the stress resistant skills. We talk about stress inoculation as well. And stress inoculation is trying to get as close to the actual thing as possible and working those skills under the chaos of a fight. For instance, like if we're training people how to win a gunfight, then we'd put them through what we call reality-based training scenarios. It's the closest we can get you to a gunfight without actually killing you. We put you in there with training devices like ultimate training munitions, where you convert your handgun into a simulated round that's paint-filled, a little hard plastic paint-filled round that's shot out the barrel. And it does hurt. It doesn't kill you. It will definitely put an eye out. But the idea is you got enough protection on that you're feeling this stuff and you realize what's going on. You know, you're not trying to kill yourself here. It's all training. We're not, you know, trying to hurt anybody in training. But the idea is you're getting them, a student, amped up to such a high level that you activate that sympathetic nervous system reaction, the same type of thing that they would have in a real fight for life. So how does that translate over here? Well, it translates over here because video gaming produces some of those same results. You get that tunnel vision, narrowing of vision when things get stressful. You get that sympathetic nervous system reaction. And you know, that's evident by the times you hear people say, "I didn't even see that coming. I didn't. Where did that come from?" Because that field of view, that cone of vision, is narrowing down. They're not hearing their teammates, whatever it is. So all this stuff really ties in together, folks, and that's kind of one of the reasons I'm trying to put this out here. So I want to come down here. I'm just going to hit briefly on some of the things. We got the calendar in there. I gave you. I talked about in the intro to this. I'm sorry, I didn't talk about it. I posted about it. That there's some Easter eggs in here. The Easter eggs, I'm giving you some extra training pages just as kind of a reminder. You need to copy more of these. So I'm going to go over this just kind of a real quick higher end view and then work my way down. So we've got the training log. In real life, I'd use this. You'd use this with a student. Students would use this. They would use this type of training log for a couple of reasons. One, to help them achieve their goals. And two, as a backup and proof of their training, because if, God forbid, they ever have to use real skills in a real-life situation and take somebody's life, they're going to need all the help they can get. And if they can get their training submitted as evidence, then that opens up the training for the court, for your equals to judge you on. Gives them much more information, make a much better judgment. So in the gaming world, what we're doing here with this thing is, well, we're not using it necessarily to document training, although a squad leader, micro team leader, platoon leader could absolutely do that if he demanded this from his team. Kind of reaching more of a professional level at this point, but you could absolutely do that, and you can find out where those weak points are in the gamers' perspective. So as we started this discussion by saying we have the conscious skills, we have those unconscious skills. Hopefully what we're doing is we're taking that solid game work, the solid mechanics, and we're able to use those under duress. And so what this training log does, training notebook does for us, is it starts helping us set that up. And it seems like a big challenge, and as we finish this thing up over the next couple of broadcasts, I'm hoping I'm painting a better, easier to understand picture of this thing. So the training log, I think I've beaten that horse over the last couple of things. I have gone through here, and as you'll notice, my solution analysis from that first video and my success analysis now have numbers put to them. And those numbers correlate then over here to the training notebook. Where the heck is it? There we go. I'm sorry, the 10 training objectives. And so you'll see those numbers 1 through 10 here. And as we go up and we get out of the basics, which is I'm going to be doing pretty soon. I was flying with a teammate in Valkyrie, Valkyrie Discord this morning. And, you know, danger is always wanting to be good enough to go into that match. Oh, and I did get a couple of kills today. I was kind of happy about that, my first couple of flights. That being said, I really don't know how I got one. I got lucky. Must have launched a missile and just accidentally hit him or some shit. I don't know. So what we're doing is you can see here, you'll cross-reference all these, the notebooks and the 10 basic training objectives are in the original videos 1 and 2 of this series. So I encourage you to go back, pick those up out of there, take a look at these. Please do not move them. Feel free to copy them, paste them, make copies of them, put them wherever you want, but please leave the originals intact. And go ahead and make suggestions on here. That's fine as well. We can take suggestions. You just come up over into that editing comment. You turn it from editing over to suggestions, and then just start acting like you're editing a document, and it'll give it as a suggestion on there, and we can just accept it with a check mark. Makes it easy for everybody if we decide to incorporate what you're talking about. Okay, so back to the training notebook here. You can see I added the numbers. Yeah, I've kind of updated all your. I've updated the training notebook as well. So the numbers in my order of importance here is you can look at this and you'll see 9 for me. Find a wingman ASAP. That's kind of an important thing here, and I'm pretty hot on that subject right now. I'm looking for him. You can see that's number 1 on my priority list right now is find a wingmate, right? A good wingmate will watch your back, watch your 6, and more importantly, is able to kind of help you identify some issues you may be having. And then you'll see also I got number 9 here in the success analysis, so they can double up. It's a priority here. 9 here is find that wingman. 8 is sustain, stay in that community. That's the high end. That was good. I'm getting deeper in that community, and hopefully I'm able to contribute something. I'm hoping that they'll be watching these and passing those out. And you'll see the things I definitely want to keep going here. We'll just take a quick back look over here. Find a wingman ASAP. That was a sustain because I am indeed looking for a wingman and, in the hunt of recruiting one. So I gave myself both the improve and the sustain because I am looking for it. And then support your team efforts by being a team player. And then one of the bigger ones you see down here, number 6, using your comms wheel. I haven't even done that yet. So I know when I need to work on this. These things are going to carry over. Number 6 there, you see that. You work on that comms wheel. I haven't done that yet. I was reminded again by my teammate, which is sure sign of a great teammate, to be watching your fellow teammates and helping them improve there. Okay, so we've got the numbers put down in there, and you'll see how those numbers correlate to that first video of me flying work. Then the success analysis or the sustains. If you got a chance to watch that video before I took it down, I definitely need some more time behind the stick. And we'll talk about that. I'm going to commit to making Eve Valkyrie a little bit more regular gaming for me. So you'll start to see this the training log start to adjust as I get more matches in, and as I review those, I'll start streaming those as well so they can be reviewed. And then my goal statements there, was I all there? That means every match basically you're treating as the important match that's coming up, whether it's a in team match or it's a wider corporation match, or it is actually your teams versus other players out there for a title. It's the same thing. Was I all there? Am I sober of mind? Am I really here experiencing, enjoying the game? A lot of people call this being in the moment. And that includes, when we're talking about being all there, we often talk about the vivid visualization, using that to help us guide our practice. And it's the same thing in your practice. Vivid visualization, you're imagining being in that match, So if you're at a league tournament, wherever that's being held, you've probably seen enough league tournaments to know how those things are. Picture yourself in that tournament, you and your teammates doing well. And that's that kind of, am I all there? So I've left you a free training log page there. Please copy that in your own copy, not in this one. Please copy this page and paste it below. And you're going to look for about 21 of those pages when this is all said and done, because this is working off of a monthly routine. So you train for basically 21 days hard on this thing, and then you're going to take a 9-day break and help that stuff transition over to the long term. And you'll reevaluate as you go along, and we'll talk about that as we get going on this. So I gave you a couple extra training logs, and then the goal setting system. We did hit on that last time. I've given you a couple of examples here. One is the PvP for a first-person shooter. And you can see here I will become the best medic in my squad, and then what it's going to take to reach that. I'm not going to bore you with looking at that. We're going to just I'll flip back over that when we do one of these for Nova, or we end up using another first-person shooter for this. Okay, so I did want to go in. Last time I gave you guys the homework of going in here, copying this thing, setting up your own stuff. I asked you to set up your own goal setting system. I want to share mine with you. It's in the draft that's online. Again, you can get that at the first 2 videos we shared in this series. And so deciding exactly what you want. Well, I want to be PvP ready. What does that mean? Well, for me, I know that because I'm new to this, it's going to be quite a grind. And I'm just used to really shitty low or high KDR rates as far as me getting killed. And that's just part of the grind. It's part of the challenge, and it's what really makes the gaming experience and doing this using the training notebook and achieving the things you want to achieve so exciting. So, you guys have seen a couple videos. You'll see one more before I sign off here today. It'll be a short one. I just want to get a little bit of piloting in. And you'll see as I work through this process with Valkyrie, I will constantly change everything. Obviously, the training notebook changes from day to day. The goal setting system will change as I achieve a goal and move on to the next one. It'll achieve as I focus my goal elsewhere. As I start mastering one thing, I'll start looking for different parts of the goal that I need to put in place to achieve that. So here right now at this basic level, we're talking about be ready for PvP. That's it. Just be ready to get your ass whooped and get in there and try to make a difference for your team. So decide when I want it. 21 days for me. I think I did this the other day, 2 days ago. So that's going to be the 5th. And I'm already kind of getting into PvP now, so I'm a little excited about that. The pay value, I'm not going to insult your intelligence. You can read these all on your own. My pay value for me is I love the PvP in a team environment. Being able to shape a match the way you and your teammates want it to best benefit you and your team is a thrilling thing. And I get personally much more experience out of working with my teammates, maybe leading some teammates and achieving team victories. To me, that's just the highest. I just love the shit out of that. It's my thing. I feed off of that. So then we ask, why don't I have the goal now? Well, I mean, you're going to have your own reasons. You can read my reasons there, but the bottom line is I'm not a pilot, for one. I don't play a lot of piloting games. And 2, I'm just new to the game. And I don't have the basic mechanics down. So I address some of that there. That can be as long or short as you want it to be. I already know I got a shit ton of shortcomings in there, so just going to have to deal with those. Determining a plan to get the goal. I would recommend that you use this. Maybe take a look up there at the first-person shooter. And what this includes is prioritizing training time and then actually using the training notebook to help you guide yourself in achieving those goals that you need to achieve to shore up your weak points, to become a stronger player and eliminate more mistakes. And so that plan includes a time limit, like we've got put up there, 21 days out. How many times a week I'm going to be practicing? You should be practicing no more than 5 days a week. And I know saying that to some gamers is goes in one ear, out the other. And that's fine. 5 days of practice is generally good enough. You really do need to, I'm not trying to preach it here, brother. But you do need that family time. You need stuff outside. Go get some vitamin D in form of sunlight. Do something. Take some time off away from the game. Let your mind ruminate on it. Let your mind have some time to think about that stuff, and instead of just playing all the time. And of course, good practice, a lot of good practice is fine. I don't get a lot of time in. This is kind of one of the reasons I'm doing this. I want to give this to really everybody. But it'll become exceedingly valuable to those people who don't have a lot of time to game, like I don't have a lot of time to game. So you determine that plan. Yeah, you work a minimum of 3, so somewhere between 3 to 5 days a week on it. And if if you're like me, you're lucky if you can get 5 hours, and you're just going to do the best you can in those 5 hours. And we'll talk about other training strategies away from the video game that you can do as we progress forward from here. So then you determine your plan to get the goal. I hope you've done that. Put that calendar dates in there, etc. And then asking yourself, here's a big one. This is pretty important. Is the prize worth the price? That is it worth the effort you're going to have to put into it to achieve your goal? Everything we value in life comes at a great price, and becoming a professional gamer is no different. There's a lot of effort that has to go into it, and so you got to look at that effort and say, is that training time I'm going to dedicate to this, is that worth the effort? Do I really want this goal that badly? And only you can answer that. But you got to be honest to yourself, because if you're not honest to yourself, you're not going to do any of this stuff. So then you schedule the plan. We'll provide a link for the team members. You can get in there, link at the training calendar, then start now. That's what we've been doing. I've been starting slow. Never reach a goal without setting another one. I like being really good at games. I really do, just like you do. And in Dust 514, one of my favorite things to play was Logi, although I could play other roles fairly well as well. I did love the Logi role. And that's going to be my next thing. I'll look at some of those Logi ships in Valkyrie, and I'll see how that works out for me. I'll keep trying different things out. We'll just see how that Logi works out. And then never quit. The bottom line is here that if you follow this process, as I stated at the very first video, is if you follow this process, you're going to achieve your goal. And there's only 2 ways this works. You follow the process and you achieve your goal, or you stop following the process and you don't achieve your goal. Other than that, there's no magic or mystery to it. So what we're doing here is we're just basically planning in the goal setting how we're going to attack achieving our goal, right? We're just kind of laying it out there, having a plan for that goal. And then and number 11, the proper rehearsal is the most versatile mental tool and is used as mental practice to control pressure for contingency planning. We're going to get into that fairly deeply as we start getting into the team stuff, but that's kind of self-explanatory. You can practice crap for 20 years, and then all you'll do is become a crap master. So it's the proper rehearsal, proper practicing, especially that mental visualization is the most versatile mental tool that you can have in your back pocket. And it does help you plan for those contingencies, especially as you start practicing. You see certain scenarios coming up again and again. You'll see that there is a pattern that forms with combat, whatever game you're playing, and you're more easily able to have an idea by saying, okay, well, if I were in that guy's shoes, what would I be doing? I'd be ducking in here, or I'd be trying to come out there, or I'd be getting this flank on, and that's all part of it as well. Okay, so we've given you a couple of pages of the goal setting. Keep those because you're going to be updating those, as we mentioned. And then I do want to hit on the running the mental program a little hard. I know we're kind of short on time here, but I didn't want to cheat you guys on this. I went through it kind of fast. I guess it was okay that the audio was broke. We'll on that last one, hopefully we'll not have that issue again. Okay, so we talked about having the conscious skills to do something and the unconscious skills, and for the most part, where these solid game mechanics are required is at the unconscious level. That is, you don't want to think about pressing the G button when you need to chuck that grenade. You just want to press that G button. Or you don't want to think about what button it is that you're supposed to be pressing for your defenses in Valkyrie, ECM, whatever it is. You just need to be able to do that unconsciously. You recognize a certain signal tone. You look at your surroundings. You realize, I can probably make it in behind that asteroid. And all the experience you have will determine whether or not you need to use that, or you can make it around the asteroid to avoid the incoming missiles, whatever it is. So the running the mental program, this can be for a specific task, or it can be a little broader, as you're seeing in the example I have here. So we've got the first-person shooter example, and I'm just going to skip down here to the VLK example. And keep in mind, again, this is going to be really, really rough because I don't even know what I'm looking for in Valkyrie yet. I have that little orientation available to me. Okay, so the point initiation. If I were training for a handgun skills test or something, my point of initiation might be once I've reholstered prior to the next shooting course or shooting portion of whatever course I'm taking. So here, when I see or find, what is this? When I see a target, see, find, nope, hold on here. It's or am. See, when I find a target, when I find or am, there we go, or I'm assigned a target. All right. So this is kind of, again, I'm not quite certain how this is going to pan out in Valkyrie. I think I'm kind of close here. But what is my point of attitude? My point of attitude is the way I go into this, it's I'm staying heads up. I have situational awareness. That's just trying to be aware of my surroundings, where those other aircraft are, or the spaceships are around me. I have that situational awareness. The hell is that? Locking. Oh, that's supposed to be an on. Is that an N? There we go. Locking on and sticking with. I'm gonna. Oops. Sticking with the yellow arrow and finishing the fight ASAP. Okay, and you'll see that also finishing that fight, sticking with that target. If you go back to the basic training, basic individual training objectives, you're going to see finish that fight. I can't remember what number that was. Let's go back here, take a quick look at that. Finish the fight, number 4. Finish the fight. We can actually even... finish the fight. I picture winning the fight and the feeling of success that comes with it, and I'm ready to handle whatever the team runs into. All right, so that could be customized, probably said a little bit better, but I think that gives you the general idea. That point of attitude is saying the attitude. If I were in first-person shooter, it would be much the same. I would not be operating in that third dimension, though, and a little bit easier in that aspect. Okay, so now my point of direction. Orient on the team, bring in whatever's needed at the moment, spawn in, and wingman up ASAP. Keep situational awareness, combat breathing where necessary. Combat breathing, we can talk about that later if anybody's interested. Communicate calmly and accurately with the team. Finish fights by using cover and countermeasures when needed. Leverage my team's combined arms and my role, and consolidating as needed. So basically all I'm doing here is, looking for that team support and trying to support the team any way I can, using those combined arms, and then the logistics, in this case, or maybe your medic or your supply guy and first-person shooter, would be consolidating every possible opportunity that you can. Okay. Point of control. So I'm going to be watching the adversary, or that could be yellow. That could be radar. Or that could be visual, obviously. Anticipate the options. For instance, if I'm in a first-person shooter, oftentimes you can anticipate what people are going to do, like running to cover, etc., etc. And you can either beat them to a point that you can intercept them and flank them or whatever. It's the same idea here, just in 3 dimensions instead of 2. Let's see, their angles of approaches, their escapes, tricks, any tricks they may throw out your way, like jettisoning a drone as you're trying to get through a tight space. Let me tell you what, that'll mess your day up. Right, Super Kev? Messed my day up with one of those, so it's pretty slick. Always press the attack, finish the fight. Again, you see that tie-in then to the individual training objectives that we have posted. And then point of focus, listen to the team while finishing the fight. And again, as I start working through these and share these with you, I'll start sharing my personal training notebook with you. I'll just kind of leave this one where it's at. I think once we finish the running the mental programs, or once we finish the directive affirmations, which comes up next. Give you a few extra pages of running those mental programs, and let's go ahead and let's prime and just really quick talk about directive affirmations. So we use directive affirmations primarily because it is your self-image that will either help pull you forward or will pull you back. Just a really simple explanation of this is that you cannot outperform your own self-image. So the bottom line is, if you don't think you can do it right then and there, you probably can't. You probably won't, because you don't believe you can. And that belief in believing you can is reinforced by your success on the battlefield and your ability to meet these training objectives. And this is one of the big values of the training notebook, is that as you start hitting these short-term goals that are propelling you along toward your long-term goal, you can start to see what we call proof of work, or POW. That proof of work is, oh my goodness, I do have some control over my destiny. And whether that's in video games and real life, that's a reality. You know, I've talked to our instructors in the recent past, last night as a matter of fact, because we had a continuing education course. And it's having the will to follow this path is what gets you where you want to be. And that is, as I mentioned previously, you're either going to stop doing this and not reach your goal, or you'll continue to do this and you'll reach that goal. And running a mental program, what it does is it starts getting you to focus on the mechanics. And it could be the mechanic of a turn, it could be the mechanic of a reload, it could be the mechanic of a switching from your primary to your secondary. Whatever that is, whatever's hanging you up, you can use a mental program to visualize doing it right and knock out that one thing that might be holding you back. Or you can use this mental program in a little bit bigger picture, like we're doing here, that's kind of a complex task, which is finding that target, being able to keep up with that target and shoot that target out of the air without getting yourself shot out of the air. And that's kind of a complicated thing. And, you know, if you've done it a lot and you're good at it and you're a gamer, it doesn't seem like that big of a thing, but always keep in mind that somebody new to the game, it's going to be tough for them. So running this mental program, it really works on helping you take a conscious skill set or mechanic, and taking that and putting that into the long-term memory where it can become available for instant access by the unconscious mind. And that's ultimately what we're looking for here, is having all those mechanics down at such a degree that you don't have to think about doing anything, presenting, or let's say in the case of Valkyrie, you don't got to think about locking on to a target, chasing the target, which missiles to use, what to do. You want all those things working perfectly in the background of your unconscious mind, so your mind can work on the tactical problem, the bigger picture, right? Where is your wingman? Where's your teammate? Where are your teammates? What are we going to do next to change the balance of this battle in our favor? And this running the mental program will help you do that. It doesn't matter if you're running a mental program for yourself as an individual on one thing, a complex task, or as a leader or as a mentor, a wing leader, section leader, whatever it is. It's the same thing. You'd be running the mental program. In that case, you would be running through more leadership mental programs, like checking on certain things, paying attention to certain things, like destruction of an MCC. You don't want a red line because that's just no fun. It's no fun. That's not going to happen in Valk, I don't think. But you get the general idea. And so that point of control and that point of focus, listen to the team while I finish the fight. I'll tell you what, let's skip that. Let's just move on from here. That running the mental program is going to allow you to put the skills you need into your long-term unconscious memory. That's going to free up your mind to work on the tactical problem. Okay, so that running the mental program is pretty much it. But I do, again, want to just hit on the working on the self-image with the directive affirmation. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, you cannot do better consistently than your self-image is capable of convincing you can do. And that pendulum swings both ways. You can have an overinflated ego and estimation of your skills, yet your unconscious and conscious skills are for crap, and then you end up feeling frustrated because you're not getting the goals you want because your ego, your self-image, is much bigger than your skill set. On the other hand, there are those people out there who have the skills. There are a lot of those people. I've got stories. We'll talk about that when we start getting into the latter parts of this. There are people who have really, really good skills, but their self-image is such that it does not allow them to win. And I'll give you an example of this. Let's say, let's say you're doing a first-person shooter and you've come close, but you've never gone clean in a match. All kills, no deaths, or whatever that goal for you is. Only 2 deaths, whatever. And you'll feel yourself getting close to that goal and thinking, oh my God, here I am close to this. You might even think something like, oh my God, I've never done this before, and then that just the additional pressure goes on. And that's really where the directive affirmation comes in. And your directive affirmation is just a paragraph that we'll be looking at next time we broadcast on your self-image and on who you are and what it is you're doing and becoming. And the nice thing about it is, as you start achieving your goals, these little goals bleeding into bigger goals, and you see this POW, this proof of work, lining up behind you, and you realize, my God, I am in charge. This is the quantum leap. I can replace the self-image I have now with the self-image I want. I can replace my habits. I can do all these things. and become really anything I want to do. And that's the bottom line. And unfortunately, well, I guess, fortunately, not everybody. I know this video series is going to go in one ear, out the other for those people that even click on it. But that's okay, because this isn't meant for the masses. It's meant for those people who are really serious about what they're doing, and for them to be able to achieve the goals they want as both individuals and teammates. So we're going to take a deeper look at the setting up the self-image through the directive affirmation. Next week, I'll have an example for you in both first-person shooter and then in Valkyrie. I should have enough opportunities to get in Valkyrie to come up with something decent for that. And so what you're seeing now is you're kind of seeing what Lanny Bassam, the two-time Olympic gold medalist and the father of mental management, calls the triad state. That's when your conscious, your unconscious, and your self-image are all balanced, and that's where you have, that when you talk about being professional level anything, if you're balanced in those, the odds are, if you're more balanced than others, you will win. Okay, we've kind of gone over this. We've talked about a little bit about what we're going to do next week, which is going to be looking at the self-image through the directive affirmations. Sorry, man. Looking at those through the directive affirmations next week. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dazzle you with my atrocious flying skills. And what I want you to do when I'm going through this is just kind of use it as a benchmark. Look at this video the same way I looked at my first video. And what you'll see in the next training notebook, you'll see a shuffling of the numbers. You will see different sustains and improves, different prioritization for me over what I think is most important right now, etc. And as we continue to go through these, and I continue to share this training notebook with you, you'll be able to, I hope, better adjust your training notebook, excuse me, and thereby upping your skills much more quickly than you would be able to otherwise. So, getting ready to get in Valkyrie is always like a deep sea diving excursion, it seems like to me. So if you give me just a minute here, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and shut down the view to the display capture, and we'll pick up the game capture. Alright, we will shut down the video capture because it just looks stupid wearing those goggles on. You know what, I probably shouldn't say that. Maybe I got a pride problem. Who knows? Anyway, let me get in here to Oculus. Give me just a second, folks. All right. Okay. I gotta go to, let's see here, on Steam. All right. I actually went into a match today. I'm not going to do that now. Not because I'm too proud, but because it would be a waste of flying time for me here. Something is going on. Let me. I have to get another USB for this thing here. Okay. All right. Is that no, it's not. Is it? Hold on here. Nah, it's not what I wanted. Shit, I can't remember where half of this stuff is. Okay, so we're just going to try to do some flying here. And again, keep in mind the objective here is to give me something to look at for my training.
Welcome, pilot. Begin systems check. Navigation systems online. Weapons online. Engines online.
I just gotta say, this is just absolutely beautiful being in here. This is everything I hoped when I was a kid playing imagined that gaming could be. Okay.
To roll the ship. Complete a lap in the allotted time to progress.
Whoop. Whoa. Ah, hell. Where am I going now? There we are. Alright, so piloting obviously needs to improve here. Alright. So, getting used to these buttons. Okay, I'm going to run this course numerous times over the next few days. See if I can't just get a little bit better. And so, you know, the goal here, even though I'm going through this pretty fast, I should be going through this slower. I should be looking for perfection here, because remember, the idea here is to build good, solid mechanics. Ah. Let's try that again. So, yeah, I'm struggling a bit here, so forgive me. And, you know, again, this is going to roll over then into, damn it. This is going to roll over then into the, my new training objectives, my new, where the hell were these guys? Okay, they're down here below me somewhere. There we go. Damn it. Boy, I tell you what, I'm struggling here. I don't know why this is so hard for me.
You're going to get targeted by missiles.
Okay.
committee button to activate countermeasures and destroy them.
Ah, hell. I should have just went with that. All right. Again, this is, you know, the point here is not fancy flying. The point here is learning just the basics. All right, so that's all we're looking for here is a little bit of flight time. And, you know, if you've never played this game, then yeah, obviously, I should have switched, not have switched targets, but now that I'm in it. All right. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit better here. Not a whole lot. Where are you, little fella? There we are. Okay, so that was an ND right there. The okay, so all I gotta do is I think look at these guys and I can get that lock on. So that's kind of helpful to know. That is helpful, okay. Whoa, I knew I was hitting that one. Alright, not enough turn. Alright, I think that's going to do it for us. We're going to head out of here. That's all we really needed, was just a little bit of a test flight. And excellent. We'll call that a day. All right. Good stuff, folks. So, I think that'll do it for me. I think I got what I needed out of that. I hope that you got a little bit of something out of this. You know, this works not just in gaming. This was designed by an Olympic athlete, as I mentioned, I think in the first stream I did on this. I used this when I shot competitively, did quite well. I really do attribute my success in shooting to obviously a lot of hard work, but being able to do what I did in the short amount of time, while not unheard of, is not common, and that is all attributed to this. And I got to take my hat off to my mentor, Gene Rux, who turned me on to the mental management system. Big hat tip his way. Gosh, I hadn't heard from him in a while. I do hope he's all right. But real good stuff. And not a lot of people, unfortunately, use it. But I can tell you, as I've said a couple of times now, if you use this stuff, you will see it working in your life. You can use it in sports, esports. You can use it at work. You can use it in school. You can use it for really anything you want. You can use it as general life setting. And it works spectacularly. And if this kind of approach to gaming via team building and bettering yourself and your teammates through basic leadership and mentoring skills appeals to you as an adult gamer, and I realize that's, I say adult, but I've had some real young kids in the core that were very mature for their age. I mean, very mature, more mature than some of the 30, 40-year-olds. You got these 12, 13-year-old kids, more mature than 30-year-olds, which, is not all that uncommon, but they were able to take this stuff and run with it. I used this in my early 20s. There's no age limit that, it's doesn't work at or works best at. The sooner you pick it up, the better off you'll be, and the more you'll end up using it with everything you do. So if this kind of gameplay, you're not seeing any kind of gameplay right now. What you're seeing is a lot of preparation for Project Nova. Team building for Project Nova and us getting our act together for its launch. As I've mentioned on the previous videos, I am a Project Nova a hopeful refugee from Dust 514, just waiting my time for Nova to come out for CCP and Helmar to launch that damn thing. Been waiting on it. So excited. If this kind of thing appeals to you, you like a less drama approach to gaming, then I invite you to come and take a look at us, come and play with us, see if there's a fit. For a lot of people, the answer is yes. And join up with us. We've got, we'll teach you how to recruit that team and be in charge of that team and run whatever size team you want. Come on out here. We're not afraid of competition and people being better than us. We'll just put you in charge of shit. So if that appeals to you, and you really do like helping other people achieve their goals, both in game and in real life, you like being part of a contributing factor to a winning team, and you love that camaraderie and the spirit de corps that builds around that, I invite you to come take a look at us and give us a try, because I think you're really, really, really going to like it. As I've mentioned in the last videos, and I mentioned here just recently, is I am a Dust 514 refugee. I am just anxiously awaiting Nova to come out, Project Nova. CCP's Project Nova. CCP, same people that do Valkyrie. And really excited. If you are a 514 vet and you are excited for Nova and you have not been tuning in to biomass.net, Pokey and all the guys over there, you're doing yourself a dishonor. You really want to go see those guys, go listen to their weekly podcasts. It's entertaining, and one of the things I like about it is educational often, and they have good speakers in there. They just, what the heck was it they had? I can't remember. I didn't get to see that one last week. But they get industry people in there, so it's a little bit more mature focused. It is for sure a good place for Project Nova news with a veterans twist, and you'll get a lot out of that as well on the entertainment field, video games, movies, etc. They're real funny guys. They're a real good team to hang around with. You're missing out by not getting to know them. So I encourage you to go over to biomass.net for all things video game, movies related, and with a specific twist there toward Project Nova Dust 514. Again, I want to give a big shout out to the community over at eValkyrie Discord. Real good group of guys. Kind of crazy. It just makes me remember back to Dust 514, the community around that. So I think that's going to wrap it up for me today. And I do hope to see you on here. When I talk about come out and play with us, I really do mean that. Come out and play with us. Don't be shy about that. My contact information is in this stream, so if you go to my Twitch, NomeXG, and you look down, you'll see the Discord server. You can hop in on that. We also have a link to our teammates and our friends over at Biomass. You can hop in on that. And I need to update that site. I haven't been able to do that in a while. I'm just too doggone busy. I know I got to put new streaming times up there because the streaming times and games have changed. Obviously, we're not just doing Battlefield and whatever out there. We're throwing Valk in there. There's been some talk about Tarkov. I just don't know if I can dedicate any more time to any other games because I have a very limited game time, which a heavy focus now on Valkyrie. But I will tell you one thing: if you're an adult gamer and you've been waiting to get into VR, you're missing out. I just tried out Robo Recall. My gosh, man, I think that's more fun than one of the most fun things you can do and still keep your pants on. Just unbelievable what they've done with that. So that's pretty cool. If you've been sitting on the fence post about VR, don't. Hop in there. Get that stuff. Get it rolling. Nova's coming out, so if you're an old teammate of ours, get your PC built, damn it. Get it done now. Don't be sitting on it any longer. Get that thing done. Get ready to go. We want to hit the ground. We want to hit the deck, the spaceship, the deck firm and hard when we roll in there. So come and join us, folks. I'm going to sign off now. I hope you guys have a great week and a great weekend. We will be gaming, I think, Saturday morning, 9 to 10. Is that right? Saturday, 9 to 10. Yeah. And I am trying to get some times during the day as well. So just hit me up in Discord, and we'll try to get some gaming time in. All right, fellas. Y'all have a great week and great weekend, and we will catch you.